Welcome back to another episode of Uncut Long War 2. Today we're getting introduced to two more characters provided by High Marshal Jaeger. As a young girl, Kiva Blackheart was fascinated with robotics, mechanical engineering, and electronics, so much so that at age 13 she created a personal robot bodyguard to fight off bullies for a science fair project. Though it wasn't as extravagant as the spark units and gremlins we use at Xcom, it was impressive for someone so young. When it was used in a real-world scenario, it set someone on fire and her school forced her to dismantle it. On that day, she made a promise to her robotic companion that she would become the best engineer alive so that one day she could rebuild him bigger and better. 5 years later, at age 18, she graduated from university with top grades in the sciences and intended to get right back to work on rebuilding her companion. But I think you know what happens next. The alien invasion put a quick stop to her plans. Kiva, her family, and many other civilians from her hometown were forced into hiding. Between when the fighting stopped and the world was reborn under Advent rule, Kiva found a resistance group to call home. She was an incredible asset because of her mechanical and electrical expertise. Long story short, Xcom has been visiting resistance havens across the globe for several months now, and we recruited her, though in truth she demanded to be part of Xcom. Since joining, she's taken an interest in our spark units. The unit we have operational is designated the Blue Bot, but Kiva calls him Warhead. She's been helping our chief engineer Lily Shen tinker with him to improve his functionality, but they wind up butting heads more than they do work. Miranda Bishop is the final member of Fireteam Havoc. She provides long-range support for the rest of the team. During the invasion, she claimed 212 confirmed kills between the aliens and other rogue forces. But more impressive than her body count is that her teammates, even Diamond Freehold, the legendary team leader, believed they wouldn't be alive without her. Just like the other members, after humanity lost the invasion, she was forced into hiding, but this didn't stop her from continuing her work. She joined with a resistance group and trained its members. They were a poor replacement for Fireteam Havoc, but they were able to perform small operations well. She's been working with that resistance group for several years, but unfortunately, Miranda recently planned a raid that was a trap set by Advent. Her and her squad were ambushed by a sectopod, and it managed to kill everyone except for Miranda and her second in command. Unfortunately, the man she put her trust in turned out to be a faceless. She managed to wound the creature and escape. Later that day, Miranda returned to the site of the raid and saw the bodies of her resistance cells spread across the area. She was kneeling by one of the youngest members when she was approached by Diamond Freehold and Bailey Iverson. They helped her bury the dead and told her about Xcom. She was quick to join and declared she was going to kill all of the aliens. As a side note, Miranda carves notches in her gun for every 10 confirmed kills she makes. She also hates Faceless more than every other alien. Alright folks, we are doing a main story mission today. We are investigating the Advent Forge. There are 18 enemies on this mission. They're all very powerful, but you know what? The squad we're bringing with us is even more powerful. So let's talk about it. Alright, we have a very meta squad composition today. 2 gunners, a sharpshooter, 2 specialists, a grenadier, and our spark unit. Our 2 gunners are Desmond the Black Dragon Sultan and Kevin the Fanboy Kerknuckle. They're both wearing exosuits, and Desmond has the plated vest for an additional point of armor and an additional 2 points of health, bringing him up to a grand total of 14 health and 3 points of armor. And Kevin is using armor-penetrating rounds as well as the flamethrowers, so we're going to cook some aliens today. Leah Markles is wearing the spider suit with the tracer round, so he's got a lot of increased aim, and I believe I have to change out his pistol for the enhanced Shadowkeeper pistol to further increase his aim. Then our 2 specialist combat hacker medic hybrid for Akani Pile, and our pure medic for Alfie Green Jelly O'Brien, medkit and skulljack, medkit and Mimic Beacon. And in the back line is Buster Doomguy Thompson. He's spec'd out to be a machine killer, so he's got blue screen rounds, the EMP bomb, and a battle scanner to give us some extra vision. And he's also using Bubbles, the special grenade launcher that increases his armor shred by 1 point, but he doesn't have any conventional grenades that can actually shred armor, so we're mostly just using it because why not? And finally, the Spark unit, of course, he doesn't have anything special. He's just using the standard rocket launcher that he comes equipped with. And yeah, so guys, let's get out there and investigate the Advent Forge. Oh man, oh man. We've got a long way to go before we get to our objective. This is one of the most difficult missions in the game, and that difficulty is solely because this mission is very long, and because it's so long, there's just a lot of room to make mistakes. So we're going to try and keep those mistakes to a minimum, but even if we do, you know, fuck up a couple times, we have access to 7 med kits, so we'll be able to heal off a lot of the damage we take. So we've got you know, all of our chips in order, so we'll be okay, but that doesn't mean I'm not nervous about how this is going to play out. And we've already got eyes on a group of enemies, a Naja Elite and a Codex. A Naga is slithering around on top of a roof, so that will be the first pod that we engage, so we'll try and get in position to do that. But the last time I said I was going to talk about something different, something that I don't normally talk about, and well, today is that day, and I'm a little nervous about talking about it, I gotta be honest. Now, you guys have been watching for a while, some of you. If you're just tuning in and you've skipped the first 40 episodes, then you don't know much about me, but I have a bit of a potty mouth. You know, I use profanity from time to time. I swear. I get my sailor talk going on. But I don't use that much toilet humor, right? I don't talk about poop very often. But today, oh baby, it's going to be a different day. Alright, because recently, oh man, I had a very serious case of diarrhea. Oh my goodness, the shit was out of control, literally. It was like a super soaker was firing out of my ass, and I'm not going to go any further. But man, when's the last time you had diarrhea? You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I'm not gonna. This is not gonna be a shit focused episode. It's just something I wanted to say. I think that I don't know if you could tell through the, you know, through the internet, but I was growing a very big smile on my face the more I geared up to say the word diarrhea, because it's a funny word. Diarrhea is a funny word, and you know what? I'm not gonna move any more of my soldiers. I'm just gonna steady weapon and end the turn. Actually, you know what? Yeah, fuck. Yeah, I'm gonna end the turn because I want to see where these guys are patrolling to before I engage. But the reason I bring up having the shits a couple days ago is because sometimes it's just kind of funny. You know, it's toilet humor, right? It's the lowest common denominator. Saying fart or making a fart noise in a quiet place, that's just the lowest of the low, and as far as funny is concerned. But it's still funny, you know. Farting is still kind of funny, and I can't see which enemy I have eyes on because of the fog of war. I'm just gonna blow a battle scanner early so I can get better vision of what's going on over here, so I can properly decide how I want to engage this situation. So battle scanner, it should work if I send it like over here. This should be okay. Yeah, that should be fine. So yeah, it's the lowest common denominator, but it's still funny, and it's the whole idea of needing to just loosen up a little bit and enjoy the foolishness to a certain degree, and just accept it for what it is, and just laugh a little bit, right? Because the thing is, I consider myself an intelligent guy. I like good television, but I also like bad television. You know, I've got two sides of me. There's a side that is willing to watch superhero dramas until my eyes bleed, but there's also another side of me that wants to watch, you know, some high tier intellectual shit where they're talking about the meaning of life and some high quality science fiction type stuff that asks us to think the hard stuff and answer or ask the tough questions, right? And that's I feel like that sort of duality is important for all of us to have. Now, I'm trying to be as precise as possible with the way I start off this Overwatch, and I think I've got it pretty much in the bag. I'm gonna gear up to start it off by giving aid protocol to the mech, so that will give him a bit of extra defense, but it will also give him the it should have given him an Overwatch from oh no, I don't think, never mind, I don't think Akani Pile has threat assessment, but it doesn't matter, he needed that anyway. It's fine. Yeah, Akani Pile doesn't have threat assessment. Just forget everything I just said. But we are gearing up to start the Overwatch, and we're going to start it with Liam Markholes by taking a shot at the Naja Elite. I'm going to bump it up to a precision shot to increase my crit to 80%. So hopefully we deal 12 damage in this one shot. Here we go. Liam, not doing nearly enough. The Naja still has 4 health remaining, but we did a nice chunk of damage. And the Codex not going to split. I'm hoping that it will walk in range of Buster Doomguy Thompson so he can do something with his blue screen rounds, but unfortunately that isn't going to happen. So we will try and finish off the Naja with our mech, and we will successfully do 10 damage to it. Boom, the robot just got a promotion, as well as someone else somewhere. So there we go. That was a decent start for the first turn, but not a fantastic one. So let's see what other enemies are on the map. There's a lot of them. We got an Advent Goon Squad with 2 Grenadiers and an Officer, and a bunch of other stuff to come. An Andromedon way in the back, and I believe a Sectoid Commander. That's going to be a bit terrifying when it finally reaches us. I've never seen what abilities it has. That is part of the Long War Alien Pack. Of course, the Sectopod. It is a very common enemy at this stage in the game. And another Goon Squad inside the building near the objective. And another group of guys outside of the building near the objective as well. So that's all the... No, there's one more group. Man. Man, oh man. Oh man. This is next level. You see why this is why this mission is tough, man. There's a lot of enemies that we have to deal with. So strap in, folks. It's about to get crazy. So the Codex going into full cover, spreading out the purple stuff. It's gonna take out the 2 Overwatches, unfortunately, but we should be able to deal with this thing, no problem. It didn't hit Buster Doomguy Thompson with the purple stuff, so we've still got those blue screen rounds that can possibly one-shot kill it. So let's see if we can make that happen. But yeah, it's that duality where, you know, we want to have 2 sides of us. That, you know, one side of us is kind of stupid and we like to laugh when somebody says diarrhea, and then the other side just wants to fuck around and watch bad television and I said it wrong. There's one side that wants to do the bad stuff, and the other side that wants to read Shakespeare and act like we smart as fuck, but we're really not. All right, so we did in the Codex. We should just be able to just kill the other pieces without much trouble. So we'll take the first shot. It's gonna miss, but it destroyed its cover, so that should make the next shot significantly easier to hit. By somebody. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Take the shot. You know, because you know, I mentioned superhero dramas. The superhero dramas are not that good, right? They're fine, but they're not that good. And all I mean by that is that they're just not a really high quality level of television. And it's because they're very ham-fisted in their presentation. There's never much subtlety in those kind of shows. It's just kind of... The problem is the main bad guy, and while we're trying to deal with the main bad guy, there are going to be sub-problems that we also have to deal with. And the sub-problems are always dumb bits of drama that are very easily avoidable by rational thinking adults, which do not exist in superhero dramas, right? It's... I'm gonna protect you by hiding something from you, and then the person that I'm hiding something from finds out, why didn't you tell me? I was protecting you. You should have just told me. I know. And then they walk away for like the commercial break, and then they reconvene later, and nothing gets like, it's just like a dumb formula that it's very dry, but it's still enjoyable to watch to a certain degree, and I like them. I'm not taking anything away from anybody that likes The Flash and Arrow, but it's just not the greatest television that's ever been made. And here we go. Something is happening in the background. The sectoid commander doing a little thing, but I'm not entirely sure what it did. And the sectopod destroying alien property as it marches around. We've got to eliminate all of these nearby enemies before that sectopod gets here, because we'll ideally want to focus it down before it can do anything crazy. And the blazing pinions coming out, another ability that is going to force our movement. The really annoying thing about both blazing pinions and the purple stuff from the codex is their abilities that force movement. They're not threatening as far as the damage that they can do, but you know, you look at what's going on right now, and our soldiers have to move or they will take a big amount of punishment. And that just limits how much damage we can do in a single turn, which can be frustrating. But we do have a flamethrower, which it has a pretty good range, and I think we're gonna have some cooked alien today. Anybody not have breakfast yet? Because I haven't. So let's get to flaming. Flame on, motherfucker. I did realize that there was an Overwatch there. I was taking a risk. He had armor. It was a calculated risk. Now, the flame, unfortunately, does not go through cover, so it doesn't look like I'll be able to hit all of them. So, before we do that, we have a rocket launcher. So we're gonna try something with that first. So, the dream team is coming alive right now. Desmond and Kevin are working together to get some magic going. And I probably should have tried to trigger the Overwatch with Desmond instead of Kevin because he has more armor. But like I said, I didn't need anything yet today, so my brain is not functioning at its optimum levels. And even if it was, I only went to a 2-year college, so I'm not that smart. Boom. I'm kidding. I'm a freaking genius. So the strategy is coming out. We destroyed a lot of the cover, and there was a secondary explosion, so we don't actually need to use the flamethrower. We can just take a standard shot, but we don't have any ammo in our gun to do so. We'd have to use our pistol, which may not kill the target. So we'll come back to that in a second. We've got other things to deal with. We've got a lot of stuff to deal with, actually. All right, I don't think there's a way for me to take off the suppression off of this thing, so I'm gonna have to. Actually, you know what? I don't know what the radius is on the blazing pinions, and I'm not entirely sure if standing my mech right on this tile will get it hit, and I don't want its armor to get shredded off for no reason. So I'm gonna take a risk here. I'm gonna give Akani Pile aid protocol on herself. Then I'm going to run through the suppression to a safe position. So boom, aid protocol, run through the suppression. It didn't trigger because we didn't cross line of sight by doing that, so that's pretty cool that we avoided that without taking any unnecessary damage. And you know what? I'm not thinking straight at all. The mech can run through that tiny little hole, and now it has eyes on the enemy mech, so I could have actually eliminated that suppression. Man, I'm off today. But yeah, there's a duality that we all live in. And there's always two parts to every story, two parts to every person, where one side is very intelligent and the other side is, you know, just a little bit more silly. And I think that the best people in the world are in tune with that silly side just as much as they're in tune with the more serious side, right? You know, if you're looking for a person to date or you're looking for a significant other or whatever, best point of advice that I can give you: look for somebody that can laugh at a poop joke every once in a while. Because if you're sitting at a dinner table and let's say you go to a Mexican restaurant and you get burritos or something, if you make a joke about, oh man, this burrito is really good, we're gonna be blowing up the toilet later tonight, and she doesn't laugh at it or he doesn't laugh at it, dump their ass right on the spot, because that's funny. All right, talking about the misery that your butthole will be in at a later point in time because of the Mexican food that you're eating is freaking funny to me, and that should be funny to everybody. It should get a giggle out of anybody, right? But if it doesn't, you're a terrible person. I said it. If you don't think poop jokes are funny, you're a terrible person. And there we go, Kevin Carnuckle learning how to tuck and roll, avoiding damage from that elite officer who only had a roughly 10% chance to hit because of that high cover. The Advent mech moving into positions, most likely going to take a shot at the blue bot. Is he going to get hit? Yes, 1 point of armor has been shredded off, but it's nothing too crazy. The blue bot is still very strong and very capable, so we are going to reload. We're not going to take a shot with it yet, though. I think I'm going to kill the mech with someone else, or at least attempt it, just because the mech is a tricky unit to use optimally, and when I first started using it in my previous playthrough, I did a lot of non-optimal stuff with it, with the overdrive ability. It gives you 3 action points, and if you don't have a full clip when you activate overdrive, then you don't get the full potential of the ability. So I'm trying to min-max that a little bit better. But on a different note, we've cleared out all of the really threatening enemies, or at least the initial wave of enemies. Now we've just got to deal with this guy. I'm pretty sure Kevin got this in the bag. So now we've got to work on getting into a new forward position so we can deal with the big bads, the Andromedons, the Sectopods, and the Sectoid Commanders. So let's start advancing. Yeah, it's a weird question though, talking about television and what's good TV and what's bad TV, because it's obviously all subjective, but there are some things where I like to step in and say, all right, there's a little bit of objectivity coming out, and there's a certain level of this show is objectively better than that show, right? And I like to think that superhero dramas are just objectively not as good as certain other television that has ascended to legendary status, right? And I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now that compares to superhero dramas, because that's kind of a new thing. But on a different note, Orange is the New Black is starting its new season pretty soon. If you're into that, strap in, get ready to binge 13 hours of your life. We're about to just get shit away, right? But as enjoyable as that show is to watch, because I watch it I've watched every season, I keep up with it, I sort of acknowledge that it's not that good, right? And it's a hard thing to say that it's not that good, because if there's anybody that is a fan of it, then you probably think, well, Orange is the New Black is a fantastic show. You're probably just some sexist asshole. No, that's not what it is. And the Sectoid Commander taking a big risk by moving into half cover, and he's just gonna take a pew at the blue bot, which is most certainly not the smartest thing it could have done, but oh well. We are taking some fire as well from one of the mechs. The longer range mechs are a pain in the ass, shredding off more armor from the blue bot. Every point of damage that it takes for now is permanent. There is an ability that you can unlock that allows the mech to heal itself, but I do not have that ability as of yet. So the mech is our most fragile unit, and in this loot we get an Advent lockbox and a hair trigger. Nothing too much, but it's still nice. We got a decent shot, and we'll take that as well. It's alright, but the reason I think it's just not the greatest show that's ever existed is because I've never seen The Wire, but I feel like The Wire is just better for some reason. And that doesn't make any sense, that I feel like a show that I've never seen before is somehow better than a show that I have seen and can vouch for. Because Orange is the New Black is good. But The Wire... right? That just seems like a show that's kind of legendary. For anybody that's seen both, please let me know if one is better than the other, or if I'm just like talking shit. We're gonna use chain shot, and totally it's bugged. So who cares, right? I'm cheating the system. I feel no shame in my game. Right, and why do I think Orange is the New Black isn't the greatest show that's ever existed? I guess I should elaborate on that, right? It's because all of the characters feel like cliches. And that's not good. You know, if you're gonna have a good show or a legendary show, I feel like you have to avoid cliches a little bit. And the ability that I'm queuing up right now is called Kill Zone. And what this does is it puts your sharpshooter that activate, or whoever activates it, on Overwatch over a specific region, and any target that makes a move within this region will get shot the fuck up. So I'm gonna cover all 3 of these targets. Hopefully they all do something, so they all take a big burst of damage. And for the rest of our guys, I'm gonna steady weapon with Buster Doom Guy Thompson. In the next turns, he'll be able to, you know, start shooting people with a bit more accuracy. We'll move Green Jelly O'Brien up just a tiny bit. And we do have a decent shot with a Connie Pele on the Sectoid Commander, so I'll take a shot at him. I could have thrown out an aid protocol, but we're not in a very dire situation where I feel like we need to do that. So let's see how this plays out. Target number 1 moving. And we connected for 5 damage. That armor doing a lot of mitigation. What is the Andromedon going to do? It's going to shoot at the blue bot, and now the blue bot is in a very, very dangerous position. We're going to have to pull it back because I do not want to lose my mech. The second target is going for a movement. He's going to get shot before he makes it very far. I mean, on the bright side, it did soak up a tremendous amount of damage, but man, it's completely out of commission now, and it is also affected by red fog. It doesn't have blood in its eyes, but its circuitry is all types of fucked up at this point. So we're gonna use the rocket with it. That is the final move that the blue bot is gonna make, and then it's gonna retreat for the remainder of the mission and not do anything. So we got to make sure this thing stays safe. But yeah, all the characters are cliches. You got your ghetto black girl. You got your black girl that isn't ghetto. You got your lesbians. You got your crazy girl. You got your down south kind of whatever. Like there's just a whole bunch of cliches that feel like they were peppered into the show, as opposed to the characters feeling like they're actually thoughtful. And that's just something that's always bothered me about it. It's a very interesting thing, and I can't predict what's going to happen on every episode, but there are a lot of moments where I feel like I know exactly where everything is going, and I feel like I have a very strong idea of what's coming next, and that's partly because I'm jaded and I watch a lot of television, but you know, I just wish it was better. I don't know. So that's enough about that, man. That's enough about that. Let's deal with these aliens. Let us deal with these aliens. Okay, I'm pretty sure we're gonna kill both of these targets in one turn, but unfortunately the Andromedon is gonna turn into its mechanical form even after we kill it. So we're not going to be completely out of the woods with this one.
X-ray neutralized.
All right, so the Andromedon shell only has 21 health. I'm going to try and go for a crit with precision shot again, see if I can take it out. Boom, we did get a crit. Didn't see how much damage that was for. It was pretty low. It's pretty low. I'm not gonna. It was 8. I was thinking to myself, don't count on camera because you're gonna make yourself look like an idiot. But I did it. I did my napkin math. And Buster Doom Guy Thompson taking the next shot, only 9 damage, not enough to finish it off. The blue screen rounds not doing as much as they absolutely need to. Its hack defense has been lowered, so I could potentially shut it down for the next turn. But that's not the most valuable thing that I could do. I'm just gonna try and find a position where I can see it and shoot it safely, and I don't think there is one. Because that's this square right here is not safe. So whatever, I'm just gonna move up, and it's just Overwatch. Yeah. That's all we can do. Yeah, you know, I don't know, because after having just talked about, you know, being willing to accept things, you know, and laugh at poop jokes and just silly shit, now all of a sudden I'm coming out and I'm talking about Orange is the New Black, and oh, it's not as good a show as it could be. You know, it's the duality. Holy crap, Kevin just got clocked in the face. Man, that looked like it hurt. But that's okay, we've got med kits. It's not a big deal. Do not panic. Kevin's not gonna die. You know, it's that duality. You know, you know, we just mentioned, or I just mentioned it. You know, feeling like there's an internal struggle with myself. You know, of wanting to be both carefree and intelligent at the same time, and you know, and not want to take things too seriously, and enjoy even things that are imperfect and not judge them too much. So when I do start getting on my high horse and saying, oh, this show isn't that good, nah, then I feel bad about it, because it is a pretty good fucking show. I mean, I wouldn't have watched the first 3 or 4 seasons or whatever of Orange is the New Black if it wasn't at least decent. But here I am talking about, oh, it could be better. The characters are a little cliche. But I mean, come on, like what the fuck can I do better? I mean, of all the characters that I've made up in my XCOM playthroughs, none of them are that creative. Like, who the fuck am I? I'm just a guy that doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Who am I to judge? Is what I'm getting at. Crap, I did not see that there was a mech right there. 4-tile rule has been completely disrespected, but maybe we'll get around it by well, first we got to move the blue bot to a safe position, but I think now is the best time we're gonna have to throw out the mimic beacon, because I don't want 2 of my soldiers to get hit with a rocket and then subsequently hit by some other very powerful alien that can one-shot somebody that has no cover. So we'll throw out the mimic beacon. And there we go. Apparently something shot it right off the bat. I don't know what that was about. Boom. Look at that. 11 damage from the sectopod. Well, the Mimic Beacon not getting the value that I wanted out of it. The sectopod gonna completely destroy it, leaving us vulnerable to the heavy mech. So we're gonna get hit with the rockets. It didn't destroy any cover though, so that's not all bad. And I believe the mech archer has finally run out of rockets. I think instead of having a single charge of micro missiles, it has 2 charges, and it fired both of them already. So we should be safe from that for now. Yeah, we should be safe from that. So I'm gonna try and hack into this heavy mech, maybe take control of it. If not, then I'll just destroy it, or shut it down and then destroy it. But we'll see. Yeah, 45% chance to control. That's not great, but I'm willing to take the risk right now. So let's do it. Wow.